Hi, I'm Mark Toole with 8020service.com. Today's customer service video of the day is on a question from Quora. Question is, how do you as a consumer measure excellent customer service? Well, I'm going to answer this question as it's asked from the perspective of a consumer, but what I'm going to say here has obvious business lessons and implications as well, because those of you unfamiliar, those of you new to these videos, this is what I help businesses with: getting customer service, customer attention, customer satisfaction, all that stuff, getting that right, keeping it simple, making businesses more profitable. So, to the question, how do I as a consumer measure excellent customer service? Well, I'm gonna nitpick on that word measure first, because I don't measure it. I don't have like a spreadsheet and I'm like, this guy's customer service is a 43 and that guy's a 92, so I'm going to use... No one does that. Nerds maybe do that, but there's nothing useful in that. There's no benefit to that. How do I as a consumer then, or how does any consumer other than an insane nerd measure excellent customer service? They measure it subjectively, emotionally, intuitively, in their mind. And really, I can think of very few examples of where someone would think of anything related to customer service and think, wow, that was excellent customer service. I can think of a few examples and I'll get there. But really, what you're probably mostly going to be looking for here is, instead of people thinking that the customer service is excellent, you need them not to be thinking that the customer service is bad. Now, at that point, if it's neutral, good, great. Majority of your customers should be absolutely neutral about customer service. If you have some that are feeling excellent about it, that's great. But here's where most conventional customer service people go wrong. I've talked about this before, but they assume that customer service, customer satisfaction, whatever you want to call it, begins when the customer has a problem with your product or service and has to contact you about it. They have to pick up a phone and dial a number and press 47 for English and listen to your dumb hold music and talk to some mindless NPC who asks them a bunch of foolish questions. And maybe eventually, it's not always that bad, but it's usually that bad, maybe eventually the guy solves their problem, at which point you, as the business who puts them through this ridiculous process and makes them talk to this NPC, you're hoping that they'll then say, that was excellent customer service. They never, ever will do that unless they are very, very stupid, or unless you send them some sort of survey and manipulate the choices to lead them into saying that. And that's what most of these businesses do, by the way. They create these surveys in a manipulative way to elicit certain responses so they can put them on their little PowerPoint slide and show them their little boss and get their little bonus and feel all good about themselves. My customer service approach has always been more about results than demonstrating results. You can demonstrate results fairly easily, whether there are actual results or not, and incidentally, many of the actual results that you get by doing things right in customer service and business, the things that I help businesses with, the things that I teach, the things that I personally do, many of these things are very hard to measure by any objective standard. That's why I'm talking about the subjective standard of the customer feeling that the service is good, or going beyond that, that the product is good, that it's valuable, or at least not thinking that it's bad, which is going to be much, much, much more common. How do we do that? Number one way, there are a lot of methods to achieve this, but the number one thing to do is to anticipate customer problems before they happen and prevent them from happening. But what does that have to do with customer service, Mark? Everything. If the person never has to contact customer service, they're going to be happier than someone who did. They're going to have a better experience. Their service is going to be better because they didn't have to deal with any service. No one wants to take time out of their day to talk to customer service people about issues with the product or service that they are buying. No one. It doesn't exist. No one does this. No one wants to do this. No one should want to do this, honestly. You want to buy a thing. You want it to deliver the results, the experience, the benefits, whatever, that you paid for, and you want everything to go as smoothly as possible. I read a post on Twitter just this afternoon about a guy, well-known guy, thousands of followers on Twitter, all that stuff, took a flight, British Airways, lost his bag. and I guess he was having no luck getting a hold of them, had to post something on Twitter publicly complaining about how they lost his bag, hoping to get a response there, and when I looked, they hadn't even gotten a response from them there. Now, yes, there are better ways for them to handle that. When they lost his bag, and he contacted them about it initially, they should have, oh, I'm so sorry, we found it, we'll bring it right to you. Didn't do that. Even better, though, and this is where we get from the basic level, neutral, standard, not upset at not bad customer service, where they don't feel poorly about the customer service. If he had called them and they'd answered and said, hey man, yeah, we got your bag, we'll bring it right over, he wouldn't have been happy, but he would have been less unhappy. And that's what most of these businesses seem to shoot for, and then they send him that survey trying to get him to trick him into saying that it's excellent. It's not excellent. What would have been even better? If they had, well, initially, we all know the real answer. It would have been even better had they not lost his damn bag to begin with. Yes, okay. But say they lost the bag. Say the government put them on a watch list and they pulled the bag, and they're not supposed to say that, but whatever. Which is actually probably likely with this guy, if you know who I'm talking about here. But in any case, barring that, instead of simply waiting for him to complain and then handling it, which is the standard conventional approach to customer service, the approach that doesn't work, the approach that I teach businesses to get away from, instead of doing that, well, I don't know how airlines specifically keep track of bags, but if you lose a bag, you know whose bag it is, you know you lost it, or you should at least, so you have a system and say, this bag got lost, let's contact the guy and say, hey, we lost this, we're working on finding it, or ideally, hey, we lost this, we already found it, where can I deliver it to you? Or, I got your address on file, is this where you want me to deliver it to you? And make that happen. It's an airline, they've got a fleet of planes, they can fly the damn bag anywhere they want to make up their mistake, and we'll see how it turns out for this guy. But, point is, as a consumer, how I measure customer service, excellent customer service, is that I don't want to have to deal with customer service at all. Every time I have to contact customer service to get someone to do a thing, or to answer a question, or to do anything like that, my measure, if you want to call it that, of their customer service has gone down. Now, you can handle that. Once I have to contact you, again, you're already doing a bad job. You're already failing your job of providing good customer service if I have to contact your customer service department for any reason. I'm not talking about like a physical store or a lemonade stand or a restaurant where you have to talk to the waiter. I'm talking about regular online businesses, services, products, things like that. Any of this stuff, if I have to contact you, you're providing bad customer service in my mind. Now, there are different degrees of bad. If I have to contact you and you're really nice to me and you make everything really easy and it's fast and someone with a brain fixes my problem quickly, good. Still not happy, but I'm less unhappy than I would be. But if, like most conventional businesses, you put me through a big complicated procedure where I have to call a number and press buttons and talk to a machine and it says, I'm sorry, I don't understand you, sir. And then it pretends to be a person and plays clicking sounds to pretend that it's typing. And then, eventually I get a hold of some NPC after I can't deal with the machine anymore and say the word fuck. And if you haven't seen this before, if you ever get stuck on the line with one of those voice recognition computer things, say the word fuck. The word fuck will do one of two things. It will make the machine hang up on you in very, very, very rare cases, or the majority of the time, it will get you through to the agent. By agent, I of course mean a mindless NPC reading off a script with a procedures manual. He's a human being, he can think, but not in that job role. He follows the procedures, he reads the scripts. Even if he knows what you want, knows how to give it to you, he's not going to do it because somebody timing his piss breaks is going to yell at him if he deviates from the procedure. So, I'm not going to go down the whole description of that conventional broken NPC customer service world on this video. I've talked about it before, but that's what happens conventionally. That results in a terrible customer experience. If you, where you think customer service begins, where most people think customer service begins when the customer has a complaint or a problem, at best, the best you can possibly do at that point is provide the person with a bad experience. It's never going to be a good experience, ever. Good experience is not having to contact customer service. And that's how I measure it as a consumer. That's how I measure it for businesses. And again, this isn't some spreadsheet. This isn't some formula. This isn't some survey where I ask you, am I excellent, really excellent, kind of excellent, or very excellent? No, it's not that. It's a simple, subjective definition of a good customer experience. Customer who buys from you again and again and again and does not have to contact you about any problems, issues, etc. Now, some of your better customers, some of your more engaged customers, they may contact you to say, hey man, I really like that thing you did last week. That was really good. Or they may contact you and say, hey, this product's really good. I like the service. What if you did this? You know, send you suggestions, things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the routine, preventable, should be prevented customer service issues that most businesses spend way too much time dealing with, and they deal with them very, very poorly. Again, that's what I help businesses get right. I help them prevent these problems before they happen. And yes, you're not going to prevent everything. There's always something. There are better ways to handle it than what most people do. That's also what I help businesses with. But again, website's 8020service.com for a reason. The 80-20 principle, you focus on those small things, those 20% activities that result in the biggest 80+% gains for the business. And in customer service, that is 100% of the time going to be preventing customer problems rather than handling them. So that's all for this video. I'm going to wrap this up here. Like I've said before, I am posting these on Quora, also on YouTube now. So regardless of where you're watching, like, upvote, thumbs up, whatever you call it. Follow me, subscribe, all that stuff as well. I do these videos every weekday on a customer service question. I've been taking the questions from Quora in the past, but anybody watching on YouTube, if you have a question you want answered, leave it in the comments. I may get to that there as well. And otherwise, I'm going to wrap this video up here, and I'll be back tomorrow with another customer service video answer.